Hi, here is Creepy Robot. Please hit like button, subscribe the channel for more videos and watch other videos. Thank you. I appeared in a place that lacks the shadow of breathing. I felt heavy, the air was filled with a damp sphere, and there was something to smell from it strangely fresh. It reminded me of that light touch of the sea and irradiated beaches, which I always liked very much. It wasn't the same, but also yet I was convinced that it had a certain resemblance. When he opened his eyes, I was actually lying on some beach that was surrounded with water. I thought it was an island, but not quite. It was night, so I didn't see where it led or what was there, but I really believe that it is not just one island, but one archipelago. Behind the beach was a long stone path, several stone arches. I got up and started in detail look around. I thought maybe I was just hallucinating, or he overfilled his sleeping pills, but the wind and the water were so real, so influential. I didn't think about it for too long and pinched myself into hands. I wanted to wake up again in my warm bed, but nothing did not happen. So I went on to find something I could really do punch, but I didn't find anything, so I stabbed one. But it still wasn't strong enough to it woke me up, even though the pain was very intense, and almost it looked like I was wandering around the room, punching every closet around which I went through. I had to come up with something, but really a lot for it. There was no choice. I heard a storm coming. Somewhere beyond the sea the clouds clustered and formed strange shapes in the sky that covered or lined. I had to move, so I decided to explore here a path that stretched across the island. She seemed the only one possible road leading somewhere else. I didn't know where, but I started to have such a chilling feeling from the thought that this place would soon fall apart or something like that. The path seemed strong enough for me to walk to other parts of the island. The trail was S-shaped, he kept repeating, and behind each end was a stone gate in arc shape. There was nothing special about her, just that there was nothing about her. It had to be built only of granite and mica fusion, because the articles were regular and never ended. I couldn't even imagine how something like this could have arisen by pure chance. But I just gave. It was still dark, and no stars or moon were visible in the sky. Or maybe you can imagine how I wandered there along the stone path millions of miles away from my bed, plus no food and water. However, the matter of darkness became very strange. Over time, visibility it was improving, and the beach was completely out of my sight. Even the trail itself as she was transforming the way I went there. About an hour ago I would have her yet described as a lump of stones supported by a sandy beach, but now I had rather the impression that I am walking along a ruined fortified settlement that has been laid exactly so I can walk through it. But the journey was not the only one thing. Even those stone arches now looked like windows near a medieval chamber, the ruler who had them freely permeable. I don't know how long the road was there, but I counted a total of 332 of those bends and loops. I didn't count the turns at all, because after the next one there were no more. They weren't anywhere. I kept walking forward, straight, without a break, and then he found it. A place without a shadow. The place I went to didn't make sense. That I didn't see my shadow, or the shadow of anything another was the first thing. Then there were the towers. I counted them in total 33. Obsidian black towers standing on that medieval road. They were regularly deployed, and the last road ended. It led nowhere. Beneath them was a green, bubbling liquid. I could almost call it by sea, because far and wide there was nothing else. When he approached the first tower and was about to walk through the gate that was cut out at the bottom of the tower, I stopped a little. It was kind of a strange force field or something. I tried against its run, and it already worked. But instead of finding myself on the other side of the tower, I showed up in the school cafeteria and saw mine stretch your hand towards your mouth. The fork soon passed through my lip and me. He was so frightened that I rolled over in my chair. Nobody noticed me, which was weird. Despite the pain, I recovered and decided to leave from the dining room. But something was wrong. This was not the dining room. That corridor, which led to her, did not resemble her at all. It was all overgrown with ivy, and the stairs didn't make sense. Their mood was crooked, and if I followed he tried to come together, I would have sprawled on the floor by 5 steps down. It wasn't very high, but I would say it was too high for the jump. Unpredictable. So I decided to explore it first in areas of washrooms that were planted just in front of glass doors from dining room. Instead, there were black and white checkered corridors, which I haven't seen it before. I was getting a little worried, so I was thinking that I'd rather jump down those stairs. They were probably 4 meters, so I thought I'd risk it and do it. There was no jump as serious as I had hoped. But the problem was that there was nothing left. It was there, just emptiness. I tried to enter it and soon something strong hit my back and I fell on the medieval path I already knew. I was on the other side of the tower. It happened. Tell me what I will have to do, and I was afraid of what would await me in the other's towers, but I got so close and I couldn't give up. After running into the second tower, I experienced something terrible from the beginning. You know, when I was little, I was scared of heights, slides and water slides. It was one of my worst fears, sliding down the slide from which I can fall and somehow hurt myself. And that's where I was. He was sliding in a strange mosaic sewer in which there were 2 large windows made of stained glass, and I slid right into them. It's the only way to explain it. The slide was long, but soon he was waiting to fly through the glass. If only I could get off the slide before that he did not fall and did not find himself behind the other tower. Unfortunately, that's what found in those other towers was many times worse. In the third I saw 2 rooms next to each other in the tower, which had no door or anything. It was constantly moving and roaring in them. I can't remember the exact one form, I just know that it caused me in fear that I don't remember, and also a sense of insignificance. Another tower showed me my mother, how her expression changed to a toothy smile, and she probably wanted to tear me apart, according to how salivating. In the 4th tower, I found myself in a dark alley near one forbidden pub, where I was attacked by dogs and shot in the head. Elderly woman with a revolver. The 5th tower took me to the prom, where my friends danced on dead bodies and had a lot of fun. In the next tower a huge tornado killed me and my class when we were tested before Blackboard. In the 7th tower we took a bus to school, but no in the normal way. My stomach was moving in my stomach and it was tickling so much that I couldn't even throw up because the bus was going too big speed. In the 8th tower, I saw fireworks in the sky that began sucking people into each other and they started burning. In the 9th tower I also saw he heard an atomic explosion not far from the factory where I worked. I ran from the 10th tower between the prefabricated houses in front of the infected people who tried to bite me but managed to run into one of prefabricated houses and I found myself on the other side of the tower. But then it happened something unusual. I skipped a total of 7 places. I should have been in now the 11th tower, but I was behind the 18th. That hasn't really happened, yet I would skip the 7 nightmares that were waiting for me there. I hoped that it was only a violation of the scheme of the place, but I established myself in my own theories. In the 19th tower was my garden, my house, and me hiding behind a fence in front of a huge creature that probably she was looking for. After trying to move, she saw me and killed me with her own a huge tentacle. I skipped again. This time 6 towers. 25th the tower followed. I was in an abandoned apartment where my father also found it, but it was different than it really was. He was much taller and had huge hooks on his hands to try to kill me, but I managed to escape and call the police. And that was another problem. The police were strangely ancient in this dimension, hats on their heads, shotguns on their backs and walking like during the Great French Revolution. When they got there to that house, they found my dad crouching in a corner and shot him in the head. The 26th tower showed me my mother again, this time repeating strange religious hoaxes, with a knife in hand trying to get me stabbed. However, when I grabbed her knife and stabbed her belly, she appeared in corner at the other end of the hall and told me she wanted to pray with me. On the 27th, I was just leaving school when I was all over the housing estate. They began to form small wind vortices sucking in dust and dirt from street. However, the closer I got to my house, the faith increased and tried to suck me into myself. But I managed to run away and lock myself in at homerooms. But in the end, Despite all my efforts, I was sucked in with the rest family into a monstrous tornado from which the devil's laugh came. In the next hour was my grandfather and I were on our way to our house. However, we were surprised by a huge mutant bear that didn't see us at first, but then he and his grandfather tore us to shreds. 29th. He fled. I am in front of my classmates with bats trying to kill me. I managed to escape, but I got stuck in our burrow and died. Me again. A total of 3 towers jumped. Only the last one remained. The last tower, and then I was at the end. I was hoping to finally wake up at the end, but when I ran into the last tower, the force field bounced me off. If I really existed physically in that moth, I probably did eat shit, because I landed in the anus on the stone ground, and then the force field tightened again. The pain was unbelievable. I thought that I will want to go there. But in the end it didn't happen, and I froze with someone in a way. He reached the last tower, and there I finally woke up. But not in my room. It was a strange place full of furniture, carpets, toys, there was even a television, but the scariest thing was a bed in which I saw myself lying and grunting,